Long before his famous battle with Goliath, David was simply a shepherd boy in the hills of Bethlehem. Each day, he wandered the hillsides with his sheep, watching over them under the vast sky, learning patience, resilience, and the ways of the wild. Though he was young, David faced challenges in the wilderness that tested his heart and his strength. One evening, as darkness crept over the hills, David noticed shadows moving near the flock. A pair of wolves had come, their eyes glinting in the twilight. Without hesitation, David leapt into action, shouting and waving his staff to keep them at bay. Though frightened, he refused to let fear control him. The wolves were fierce, but David's courage burned brighter. Life as a shepherd was often lonely. But in his solitude, David found time to reflect, to play his harp, and to grow his faith. He learned to listen, to the wind, to the rustling trees, and to the voice within his heart that told him he was never truly alone. Each challenge taught him resilience and gave him the strength to carry on. David, with his arms stretched out, is mid-throw with his sling whirling through the air. His face is tense, his brows furrowed in focus, and his mouth set in determination. A large brown bear stands just yards away, its fierce eyes on David. The bear's heavy muscles and massive paws contrast sharply with David's small, lean frame, underscoring his bravery. David knew he wasn't the strongest or the fastest, but he believed in a power beyond his own strength. Each encounter with wild beasts taught him that courage wasn't about having no fear, but about trusting in something greater. These experiences shaped his faith and showed him that he could face any challenge with God by his side. Word spread across Israel about a fearsome Philistine giant named Goliath. Warriors cowered before him, terrified by his size and strength. But when David heard of Goliath's taunts, he was struck not with fear, but with purpose. He had faced beasts before and knew that strength alone did not determine victory. David's heart was set, he would face Goliath. He went to King Saul, explaining how he had defended his flock against wild beasts. The same God who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the bear will deliver me from this Philistine. Though Saul doubted, he saw David's determination and agreed to let him go. Saul offered David his own armor, but it was heavy and cumbersome. David shook his head, saying, "I cannot go in these, for I am not used to them." Instead, he chose his simple sling and 5 smooth stones from the brook, tools he trusted and knew well. As David stepped onto the battlefield, Goliath roared with laughter. "Am I a dog, that you come to me with sticks?" he mocked. But David was undeterred. "You come to me with sword and spear," he replied, "but I come to you in the name of the Lord." With a swift, practiced movement, David loaded his sling, whirled it, and let the stone fly. It struck Goliath square on the forehead, and the giant toppled to the ground. David's faith and courage had led him to victory once more, and the Israelites cheered in amazement. That night, David returned to his sheep, humbled by the journey that had led him there. He knew now that true strength came not from power alone, but from a heart that trusted deeply. He had been prepared for this battle all along,